Hi, Sana. It's Mimi. And I've got a story to tell you, a very famous story about a girl whose name is Cinderella. Cinderella was very smart, very well educated, super nice to everybody, and very, very pretty. And she lived with her mom and her two sisters, who were not smart, well educated, nice to everybody, and pretty. So whenever anybody'd come over or they'd meet people on the street, everybody wanted to talk to Cinderella and to tell her what they were doing and hear what she was doing. And the sisters were very jealous about that. So they decided Cinderella could grow up being their maid. And they made poor Cinderella do all the work. She had to dust and sweep and dry mop and do the dishes and change the beds and all the housework. And they just sat around and gossiped and talked and went and visited people. Not so nice for Cinderella, huh? Well, once upon a time, which is how it all starts, the prince of the land was going to give a ball for himself. He wanted a girlfriend. He didn't have a girlfriend. And he thought it'd be a good idea if he invited all the women in the village to come to the ball. And they could all dress up really nice and he could meet them all. And then he could say, I'm interested in that one. And maybe she could be his girlfriend. Maybe they'd get married and she would be the new princess. So he sent out invitations to everybody in the village, and that was the most exciting thing. Well, the sisters kept gossiping. I want to wear this. I'm going to wear these earrings. Do you think I should wear a long necklace or a short necklace? Oh, it was the most exciting thing that ever happened to anybody. And Cinderella said, what do you think I should wear? And the sisters said, you're not going. She said, well, but everybody's invited. Why not me? And they said, because you have nothing to wear. Huh. So they got dressed the night of the ball, did their hair, looked very pretty, really, and took off to the ball and left Cinderella at home alone. So there she sat. She really wanted to go to the ball. She wanted to see everybody. She wanted to meet the prince, but they just left her behind. And as she sat there, she thought, boy, I really wish I could go. When she heard a voice behind her say, I think you better get going if you're going to go because you're late. Well, Cinderella thought she was home alone, and she looked, and there was this woman, all dressed in a gorgeous glowing gown, all sparkly and looks like stars. And Cinderella said, who are you? And the woman said, I'm your fairy godmother, and you better get a move on if you're going to make it to the ball. And Cinderella said, but I don't have anything to wear. And the godmother said, well, if that's all that's bothering you. And she took her magic wand and boop, tapped Cinderella, and all of a sudden, poof, she's in this beautiful blue ball gown, sparkles like diamonds. Her hair is up and all done beautifully. She's wearing jewels and earrings. Oh, gorgeous. And the fairy godmother says, yeah, looks good. Okay, let's go. And Cinderella said, but I don't have any way to get there. And the fairy godmother said, oh, okay. And she took a pumpkin out of the yard, and she caught 2 mice, and she grabbed the cat and put them all together and took her magic wand and went, boop! Well, the pumpkin turned into a golden coach, and the cat was the coachman, and the mice were horses. And the fairy godmother said, there you go, gorgeous coach, let's go. And Cinderella said, yeah, but I don't have any shoes. And the fairy godmother thought, oh my gosh. So she looked at her feet, thought a minute, and went, okay. Boop. And all of a sudden, Cinderella had these beautiful glass slippers. And the fairy godmother said, come on, let's go. Off they went down to the coach, and as Cinderella was getting in, the fairy godmother said, but wait. All of this is magic, and at midnight, the magic goes away, and you'll be back to what you're wearing. You'll have a pumpkin, 2 mice, and a cat. So be home before midnight. Cinderella said, yeah, sure, whatever, and took off to the ball. Oh, she was so excited. Well, they pulled up in front of the castle, and Cinderella got out and ran up the stairs and into the ballroom, where everybody already was. And oh, it was so exciting. But nobody knew who she was. And they all turned and looked and just saw this beautiful woman in a beautiful sparkly ball gown. And the prince saw her too. And he wanted to dance. He walked across the dance floor and said, Madam, may I have this dance? And she said, of course. And they danced. And they danced, and they danced, and they danced. And everybody at the ball kept saying, who is she? Who is that woman? Who is she? Do you know who she is? Even the sisters didn't know who she was. And came the end of the ball, and all of a sudden Cinderella hears bong, bong. Oh my gosh, it's midnight. And she says to the prince, I'm sorry, I have to go. And she takes off running out the door. Well, the prince goes, wait a minute, I don't even know your name, wait. And he runs after her. Well, Cinderella runs down the stairs, and she trips a little bit and knocks a shoe off. She turned around to pick up the shoe and realized that the prince is right behind her. She can't waste any time. So she takes off, jumps in the coach, and it takes off. And about a mile away, poof, the magic is over. And there she is in the middle of the lane with a pumpkin, a cat, and 2 mice, and her old grubby clothes. And she walked home. Well, the prince turns back and goes up the stairs and realizes she lost her shoe. Now that gives him an idea, because he figures, I'll just go to all the houses in the village and ask all the girls to try on their shoe. And when I find the person that fits the shoe, I found the girl. And that's what he did the next morning. Everybody got a chance to try on the shoe. They'd knock on a door. the young girl would come out and try on the shoe, and it didn't fit, and they moved to the next house. Well, they went from house to house to house to house, and finally they got to Cinderella's house. Well, the sisters were so excited and invited him in. And the first sister tried to put the shoe on, and she crammed and she pushed. But if it was too fat and too wide, and it wouldn't fit the shoe. So the next sister pushed and pushed and pushed, but her foot was too skinny and too long. Cinderella said, "Could I try it on, please?" And the sister said, "You weren't even at the ball. It's not going to fit you." She said, "But please, could I try?" And the prince said, "Sure." And he handed her the shoe, and it fit her perfectly. Well, the sisters and the prince were so taken aback when the fairy godmother appears and takes her magic wand and touches Cinderella, and she's instantly into her ball gown again. And the prince said, "Oh, please, will you be my princess?" And she said, "Of course." And they left together for the castle, where they got married and lived happily ever after. Bye.